Hey, y'all, welcome to the Patrice Brantley Show. Where helping others is the name of the game, and on this show, we push purpose, positivity, and personal growth. Today, we have the immense. When I tell y'all, I need y'all to get y'all paper and pencil together. Listen, this is not the show to play around. Get your paper, get your pencil, take detailed notes because this is the one definitely for my small business owners. Okay. If you have a medium sized business, small business, large business, you need to be here today. But I especially need my small business owners to know what they can do and how they can avoid major business mishaps with the HR system. Listen, we get the opportunity to speak to Miss Necole Matlock today. So make sure you keep it locked in and be fully tuned in. And that's right. Go tell them kids, go sit down. That means you get your paper and pencil and let's get focused because you got some good information to get today. All right. So let's jump right on in. Today's opening question: how do you avoid major business errors as a small business owner using HR systems? We're going to be jumping in talking with Miss Necole Matlock today, and I got to tell you, I am super duper excited about it. Hey, but before we get into that, I need you to make sure that you're connecting with me and following me on all socials. That's right, on YouTube, on IG. Make sure that you're connected with me at Patrice B Channel. If you're heading over there to the world of TikTok, make sure you connect with me at Patrice B Channel, the number 2. And that's right, we're continuing to grow. So if you say, Patrice, I haven't seen you in my particular favorite place, don't worry, I'll be over there soon. All right, we're jumping on in. Announcements, announcements, announcements. I am now expanding the platform. So I know you all have known me for these amazing interviews, but now we're going to add a new twist to the game. We're going to be doing the podcast series called Parables with Patrice. Make sure you tune on in for that podcast session as it gets started. Remember, it's going to be a short series, but very impactful. All right, today we're jumping right on in. Hey, I need y'all to what? Come on in, come on in, come on in. Give it to me now. Don't let me sit by myself. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. Give it to me, y'all. Give it to me. We are welcoming Miss Necole Matlock. I'm so loving this. Listen, when I met Miss Necole, okay, y'all, I gotta tell you, just off a conversation, we sat on the phone for almost 3 hours because it was just that good. Now you know when something that good to you, you gotta say, I gotta share this. Just like we talk about when we go to a good store and they have a great sale, or when we find that fragrance that make you feel so good when you put it on. That's how good this conversation was when I met Miss Necole Matlock. So, y'all know my favorite question I love to ask. What's your story? Talk to us about what's going on with you.
So, for me, my name is Necole Matlock, and I am the owner and founder of Strategic HR Development. We are a full service HR consulting firm that serves small to mid sized businesses, and we are specializing in working with you at every stage of your business journey, whether you're startup ready, existing to scaling, or transitioning to exiting for retirement. We have services that support you in each stage of your business.
So now that we know that you can support our business, tell us, how did you even get into HR? What drew you into this field?
Oh my God. You know what? It was so funny because I didn't choose HR. HR chose me. I was working for a gaming company at the time, and I was actually working in digital marketing or database marketing. And because the company, the gaming company, couldn't get licensed in the state of Illinois, the headquarters had to move from Illinois. So we actually moved our headquarters from the actual gaming property and moved it over to a different headquarters. And the owner came up to me and said, "Hey, I need you to head up HR." And I'm like, "Ooh, I don't know a thing about HR." And
Wow.
he said, "Well, go get some understanding because that's where I need you." So that was my first step into HR. I started as an HR supervisor over 25 years ago, and I was thinking, like, terrified, like I'm not the person that talked to a lot of people, a little bit shy, so I don't know how I can head up this HR department and be the voice and the face of the company. But in doing so, I found that it's actually what I was born to do. And 25 years later, here I am, and not only stepping into building myself up from HR supervisor to head of HR, and then becoming a corporate graduate into my entrepreneur space, and now holding a business of my own, which is strategic HR development. So I would have never thought
You,
that would have happened.
when I tell you, you said HR chose you, you're really right. HR chose you.
Yes,
I've never had someone say to me that they were in a completely different field and somebody else said, no, this is where I'm going to put you. You
yeah,
know, I kind of feel like those are those divine moments when you find someone that just says, I see this in you. And sometimes we're looking like, I don't see that at all. But the person
yeah,
goes, I know you're going to do amazing. So you literally walked into a space that was voluntold and gifted to you.
yes.
So in this, I love that you actually help the small business owner.
Mhm.
And I think for so many people, especially if you're new into the business world of entrepreneurship, nobody talks about HR. All they
Yeah,
think about is set up your LLC, get your bank account, go over here, get your line of credit, but they never talk about the backbone of the business. So today I'm gonna ask a bunch of questions because I was so excited about you coming on. I collected questions. I went and called my friends that are small business owners. I called some of my friends who are medium business owners and I asked them some questions. I said, listen, I have an expert coming on and I need y'all to give me some questions that I can ask her because
yeah,
I know I'm not the only one saying, oh, we need that too. And I know somebody else is going, oh, shoot, I do need that.
yeah.
So I want to talk about some of these questions today. I want to get there today, but I want to really focus in for a moment and ask, what was it about that small business owner that took your heart in this area for HR?
Yeah, so one of the things that small business owners they're so excited. So I'm excited right along with them. And the biggest thing is you get your LLC, you get your bank account, and you start meeting your people, and you are thriving and doing what you love to do. The reason you started your business because you have that passion-driven project or product that you want to share with the world, which is great. And in doing that, though, we forget about our vision, or when we decide on our business, do we ever think about what is our end result of this business? So I would always say, beginning with the end in mind. When you start your business, start thinking about, where do I want to end this business? At the end, do I want to retire? Do I want to sell it off to a private equity firm, or ESOP, meaning you want to sell it to your employees, or you want to sell it to a venture capitalist, or whatever you need to do to pull money out for retirement. So that's the end result. So it's like two bookends. You have your beginning and you have your ending stage, and there's a lot in the middle, and that's where we forget. So for a small business owner, once they get all of the things like their business plan and things together, then they figure, oh, I'm good, I'm all set. But there's a twin to that business plan or that financial plan, and that's that people plan. And that's where a lot of businesses flounder, because no one's talking about that. Even with bigger corporations, I've been
Hmm.
in executive spaces, and that people plan is always an afterthought. After we get everything in place, then we're going to worry about the people. But the people is important to have that in place before you worry about everything else. Because if you're scaling and you're building your business, and your business is growing beyond you, right?
That's good.
You have to think about, who do I need to bring in to help me? So as a small business owner, we tend to bring in our family members to say, oh, well, my cousin can handle this, my mom can handle this, my dad and my sister, my brother can handle that. But are they the true talent you need to actually take your business to the next level? So as a small business starts, we really need to start thinking about, what is the culture of your organization? Start thinking about that up front. How many employees do you think you may need within your first 3 to 5 years? So we have to think about that, because as we build our business, we may build and we grow, and we hit that six-figure mark. And if you want to go past that six-figure mark, or sometimes even the $550,000 mark, once you get beyond that, you're going to need someone to help you. Or if you stay in startup mode too long, you'll always be
Mhm.
in startup mode. So you have to think larger, faster, and grow faster, larger, right? So thinking about that, so that's talking about, what does our people plan look like? What does our culture look like? Do we have policies and procedures in place, so when we start to hire our people, do they understand the expectations for themselves, right? What should they
Mm.
expect us? What should we expect from them? And we have an established position that we're hiring someone into. We're not creating a position for a person. We're creating a position for a need, a business need. And that's some
Mm.
of these mistakes that small businesses make. They don't think past today, or they don't think past what they're going to do. They're just excited about doing the thing, right? But the thing is going to take more people to do more things. So we just need to think about the broader picture in the beginning.
Talked about having that people plan, because I honestly am, I'm gonna be very honest and transparent here. The people plan probably was the last thing I thought about, because I was more concerned about how can I help the people that I'm called to help.
Hmm.
But when you get into the groove, as you said, you're going to need those people to help you.
Yeah,
And then the
yeah,
other piece that I love that you talked about, having the end in mind. I think so many times, like you said, we're excited, we're jumping off, we're ready to go. Oh my gosh, this is going to be my business. I'm excited. I don't have to do the 9 to 5. I don't have nobody telling me what I have to do. But a person who's going to be an entrepreneur, you definitely need to know what your end is going to look like. What does your paradise look like, is what I love to call it. Is that you going and selling around the world? Is that you saying, I'm going to sell off this business and it's going to look this way? Is that you saying that, hey, I will never retire because I love what I do and it will become my ministry? What does that piece look like for you? So I love that piece. What are
yeah.
some of the consequences? Because you just talked about some really great pieces and having that people plan. What are some of the consequences of not having a really good plan?
Ooh, so some of the the processes of not having, or the consequences of not having a people plan can be very humbling, which is called the Department of Labor. The Department of Labor can send you an invitation, and I like to say that you've been cordially invited to an audit. And I ask my clients, if the Department of Labor knocked on your door today, would you invite them in and say, hey, would you like a cup of coffee? Or would you be like, oh crap, and trying to scramble and hide things and try to figure things out in the moment? So that is a huge, huge, like blind spot that business owners don't think about compliance as it relates to
Mhm.
employee relations and employee labor laws, right? And if because we think that, oh well, I can just hire someone and call them a 1099, but they're
Mhm.
actually working for me. You may call them a contractor, but the Department of Labor calls them an employee. And if they have to call them an employee and you're calling them a 1099, you're going to pay for that. So there are fines and penalty per violation. So if you have 25 employees and you have 25 violations on one employee, 9 times out of 10, you have those on the other 24 employees. So you think about adding up that dollar amount for the fines and penalties that you'll have to pay across your entire staff. You can be anywhere from 25,000 to $900,000 in fines and penalties, and you have a particular amount of time to make that payment. So initially, the Department of Labor will tell you you have 30 days to pay that, and then if you
Mhm.
can't afford that, you can apply for extension, which was 90 days. And if you can't afford to pay it within that period of time, then you would have to do what is called a application to pay. And that is when you have to submit all your finances, and they get in all your business, all of it. And you
Okay.
have to submit everything. And then they decide what you can pay, when you can pay, and how often you pay. And if you can't do that, they have the ability to close your business. So, and some
Whoa.
people think, yeah, and some people think, oh, well, I'm doing fine. I know all of the laws. And I always say, you can't know all of the laws because they're ever changing. They're constantly shifting. There are laws that are big ones that they talk about, and it's front and center. And there are
Mhm.
laws that are shifting and changing that you have to go and search and find. But either way, you have to be compliant of those laws. So it's about making sure you are connected with the right people, an HR
Mhm.
consultant like myself. Just saying.
Yes.
Or you're digging, and if you're digging to find what the new laws are, then you're truly not running your business. You're working in your business instead of working on your business. So the most important piece of this is ensuring that you are attaching yourself with the right people, just like everyone knows to get a CPA. That's what the society
Mhm.
tells us. We need a CPA. We maybe
Yeah.
need an attorney. We maybe need this or that. No one ever tells you that you need an HR consultant. But I am here to tell you today that you do need an HR consultant, a good solid one with extensive knowledge on laws, on people processing, on building cultures, understanding what headcount projections are, and understanding where you need to be and where you're trying to go. Because in doing business, there's two things. You're either creating a job for yourself or you're creating a business to employ other people in the community. So you
Mm.
decide.
I love how you say that because you gave a good example of either you're working in your business or you're creating opportunities for someone else. I think so many times when people look at entrepreneurship, they look at, I'm just getting out of the rat race. Nobody can tell me what to do. I can take my
Yeah.
days off when I want, but it's a whole different ball game once you're
Yeah.
in it. And a
Hmm.
lot of people are stuck in that working a job in their business
Yes.
instead of creating the opportunities. If you're talking about hiring, and I would love for you to give some advice on hiring your first hire, or at least let's just say not your first hire, but your team. If you
Yeah.
had to put together your team, who would be your all stars that you would start off with? Because sometimes I've heard some of everything. I've heard make sure you get a VA or an EA. And then I've heard someone else say, no, you need to make sure you get an accountant. But I heard
Hmm.
somebody else say, you know what, you really need to look at who can do most of the work so that you can kind of lay back a little bit. So, what would your all star team look like if we're going to start hiring? What would that look like?
You know what? That's a really interesting question because it differs based on where you are in your business, right? So if you're at that startup, right, and it's time for you to hire another person in your business. Some people may say you need a VA, but
Hmm.
I would say look at someone who aligns with your principles and your values of your business, someone that you can really delegate work to, because that person can fit into a VA, right?
Okay.
Depending on how broad you want that person to be. But the way that I look at it is find out the projects or the day-to-day tasks that you're doing and what can you delegate off your plate, and then create a position around that, and that will truly tell you what that person looks like that needs to be your first or your next hire. And that's how you expand your team based off of business needs or operational needs, not by emotion. Like, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do. The biggest mistake
Hmm.
people make is thinking, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I need someone to help me, I can't do all this stuff. And then they hire a person, but they hold on to everything still. And then they become frustrated, right? Because they're thinking, I'm paying this person and they're not doing what I expected them to do. But because you're so overwhelmed and you're busy doing everything, you haven't laid out expectations for a person to handle on the day to day, and they can't read your mind.
Okay. I got to tell you right there, you just put. Okay, I ain't even mad. I'm not mad, but I'm saying this because at the beginning of this voyage, everybody kept saying, get a VA, get an EA, get a this, get a that. Nobody explained. You got to have a list. You got to know what you want them to do. They
Yes.
don't walk in the door and say, hey, I can do all of this. So,
Hmm.
I love how you talked about what you need to know, what you need to take off your plate, and being honest enough with yourself to
Yes.
say, I can't do it all. Because that's the thing a lot of new entrepreneurs do. We want to be the one who sweeps the floors, makes the cake. We want to greet the customers. We want to answer. You can't do all of that
You're
because
not.
that's going to turn into burnout. And that's not going to help you be the best business owner, CEO of your life if you're busy trying to be everybody for everyone.
Right. And one of the things that, as business owners, new business owners, do you understand your value? What is your dollar per hour, right?
Oh, it's good.
What do you charge? If you were going to charge your clients for your services, understand what your value is. And then you take that value times the task that you're doing. So if you're $250 an hour and you're over
Mhm.
there sweeping the floors, are you going to pay someone $250 an hour to come sweep your floors? You're probably not, right? So think
That's a
of
good
it
way of
from
looking at that.
yeah, think about it from that standpoint. And that's how we create our job descriptions. And a job description really aligns what needs to be done in this role. And then you get a title based
Mhm.
on what those things are, those tasks are that you don't need to be doing on a day-to-day basis. And then you do the workaround, and then that job title becomes that's your hire. That's why I say it differs from where everyone else is. Because if you're a baker and you just need someone to clean up after done all the things, then that may be just like a baking assistant or a baking coordinator or something like that. So it's really, that's why it's so important to work with a HR consultant like me. Just going to keep throwing that out there. So that we can work through what this looks like and pull out of you the things that should not be on your plate at this stage in your business.
So I love how you talk about working with the consultant, and I want to come back to that because I really want people to understand what they should be looking for in their consultant. So I'm going to pause for a second there and put a pin there.
Okay.
I love how you talked about knowing who you need, why you need them, and being upfront about this. How can you, and I think this goes right to my question with the description and the job descriptions,
Hmm.
because here's what I have noticed for those young people who are saying I am out of a job now and I went to apply for another job and the job had some things I've did before, but then they had stuff that had nothing to do with the job description.
Hmm.
How do they handle that piece?
Oh my God, that's so, I mean, it's scary, but it's really simple, right?
Mhm.
So if you think about where you are in your job today and you're applying for a job for your future, and there's a lot of things in there that you have done, and there are a lot of things in there that you haven't done. But that's where it's called transfer of your skill set,
Okay.
transfer of knowledge. So, say for instance, if they're looking for someone who, they're looking for a customer service person and you worked in retail and you're like, well, I don't have customer service experience because I don't
Okay.
haven't had to answer the phones. You haven't had to answer the phones, but your customers were right in front of you. You did a lot of FaceTime. So the customer service is still there. So it's transferable skills. So you just say, here is how I have accomplished this in my past, and understand everything on the job description is not something you have to know now. Because if you think of a job description, you're not going to run in there starting to do all of those things today, right? You're going to build upon that. So it's either A, you already know it, you can transfer that skill knowledge, or you can develop that. So you highlight those areas that are more of the top or the more important pieces in the job description. If you have extra knowledge on that, or you have knowledge in those spaces, then you really highlight what that looks like, and they can build or train you to do the other things. Because the way we look at it from the HR standpoint, there are two types of people: the people that
Mhm.
have will to do the job, and those who have the skill to do the job. So some
Oh,
people have the will to do it but not the skill. Those are the people that you can train into the position, and they will be your top key employees. But those who have the skill to do it but don't have the will, that's the person that you need to let go, because they're telling you, I know how to do this, but I don't want to do that. So there's nothing you can do to get them to be a top performer. They'll probably be your lowest ranking employee because they're going to do enough to get by. So that's something to think about. Will or skill? Again, will means I am willing to learn and willing to do what it takes to get this job done, and I will become your top employee. Skill means I have the skill, but I'm going to do the bare minimum to get by because I know what I'm doing, and I'm just going to give you what I got at the time that I want to show up.
okay. I got to pause here because I want to add something to this so good, but hold on. I got to go to our sponsor because the sponsor is going to be asking me, Patrice, listen, now we talked about this and I want you to be on point about it. So hold on for a second. Let me pause for the calls and let me talk about my amazing sponsor. Listen, guys, this episode has been sponsored by the 3S Movement. They are your trusted resource for counseling and purpose. If you're at the space where you say, Patrice, I need to talk to someone, I need to go to a therapist, I want to talk to a counselor, I need someone to just be my soundboard, I need someone to help me move through this transition of moving to a new job, and I got to use up this insurance before I go. Listen, I need you to head on over to the3smovement.com. Go ahead and make sure you book that appointment. Talk with them. I'm telling you, those ladies have an amazing setup over there and they want to be an ear just for you. You can go ahead and book your appointment at www. The number 3, the letter S, and the word movement.com. Or if you say, Patrice, listen, I hear you saying I can go online and do it, but I want to talk to somebody. Go ahead and call 866 479 9432. Once again, that number is 866 479 9432. And let them know Patrice sent you so that you can start your healing journey today. Okay, so we are here with Miss Necole Matlock. And honey, she done already blew my top, okay? She done told me, she done stepped on my toes and danced on me and said, you got some stuff to get your business in order. I was like, I hear you. But I love that she talked about different things that each owner can do. What is it that you need to have? If you missed the first part of the episode, I need you to go back and check out the part on people planning, okay? Because that people plan, that one got me. It was good. And then the second part she gave me that was so amazing was having that end plan in mind. So I'm going to give you the first letter because we had a couple different scenarios that came up. But this one really hit me. So I have a person who is asking, Patrice, how do I handle sensitive employee issues?
Hmm.
What do you suggest? I have an employee. I really like them, great work ethic, but they seem to have quite a few issues. They seem to be having a lot happening at home. How would you suggest, as a small business owner, we handle this? Now, I don't know. So that's why I brought the question to you, because I know you're the expert.
Yeah. No, that's a really good question, and it's actually pretty common. So first of all, I encourage before we get to the sensitive issues, because
Yes.
you have to build credits before you take debits, right?
Yeah.
So really starting to have making sure that you have one-on-ones with your employees to build a level of trust so that they can come to you when things are happening and things are just not so perfect, or when you see a reduction in their productivity, you can have the very candid conversation without feeling like you are going to explode, or them feeling like, oh, I can't trust my boss, so I'm not going to say anything. So that's the first step, is
Mhm.
making sure you build that level of trust so that you can take those debits when you need to, right? So again, when you're having a sensitive issue, for example, I'll share a story where there is an employee who was losing her mom. And so she didn't have any conversations or anything like that with her boss, but she went from a top performer in 12 months, became like the lowest 10% of the population in the workforce. And her boss was just ready to fire her because she wasn't
Oh,
performing as well as she had been. And so they came to HR and it's like, well, what can we do? And I said, first, have you had a conversation? And they're like, well, what do you
mm,
oh, I mean, she's not performing. I said, have you asked why? Have you asked if there is anything going on at home? Have you asked, is everything okay with you? Because in working, as we are employees and employers, we are first human, and there are things that can be going on in our lives. So asking a person, how are you doing? Not caring about them and their performance only, because performance only means I don't trust you. I can't bring my confidential issues that I'm facing at home to you because I feel like you're going to use that against me and maybe take my job, right? So it's about building that trust and asking people often, not just when things are going bad, right? When things are going good, how are you feeling today? How is everything at home? How are the kids? How are your parents? Really getting to know that person as a person, not just them as your employee. Because again, if you just know them as your employee, there's no trust going on there, and they will leave you at the drop of a hat because there's no trust there, right? And there's no loyalty because I feel you don't care about me, and I don't feel that I am seen, valued, or supported in this organization. So I can't bring
mm.
my trueness to you. I can't show up 100% of my authentic self.
I love how you talked about it. You use my three words that I love, that feeling heard, seen, celebrated, valued, and
Mhm.
not having that part of being trusted. That takes me right into the next question that I was given. I love my employees, but I can't keep my employees.
Ah,
So, how do we work on employee retention? This is a business owner who loves their employees. They love to see them go and grow, but they can't keep them. what would be your top three suggestions for that particular business owner?
Yeah, that's a big one. I would tell you we have a Fortune 500 companies that are faced with the same thing. Retention is a thing that people think it's a secret sauce to it, or there's a secret society behind it, but it really isn't. It really boils down to getting to know your people and trusting, getting them to trust in them, talking to them. Business owners, leaders, for whatever the reason, they're afraid to have like an open, communicative relationship with their people. So the thing is, let me tell you what it's not. Retention
Okay.
is not throwing money at people
Oh,
because
wait
if
a minute. So you're not gonna allow them to throw an extra 20 grand at me and say you can stay? Because I've had people try that.
and you can, but if you're not happy, you're going to take the 20 grand and you're still going to leave. You're still going to be looking, right? So you're
You're right
not
about
really
that.
saving your employee. You're just putting a band-aid on a gunshot wound, right?
Wow.
So the key to keeping your people is making sure that I'm going to go back to this. They feel that they're seen, they're
Okay.
valued, and they're supported. And on top of that, growth opportunities, right? They want to see that what the work that they do is valued. They want to know that my voice is heard in this business. It may not be heard all the time. You can have a person that comes to you with a great idea, and it's not the time to use the idea, but you say, you know what, Sarah, that's a great idea, and we're gonna put a pin in that because we can't. It's a financial thing. You don't have the money to implement that right now, or you've got a lot of other projects going on, and you can't implement right now. But whatever the reason is, have the honest conversation. Let them know that you appreciate their knowledge. And this is a secret. Don't tell anybody I told you this. But your strongest ideas come from the people that do the work. It's not the business owner. The business owner may think, "Oh, I know everything," and you do. You know a lot of things. But the people that's doing the work and are employee or customer facing, they have a lot of input. They receive a lot of input from employees, or they see different things that could be done faster or more efficient. Listen to your employees. That's where it comes from in retention. Do they feel like you're listening to them? Do they have a voice in the business? Do they have opportunities for growth? And is there a goal set? Giving them goals and asking them, what are your goals? What are your ambitious, or what attributes do you bring to the table? Having them talk to you, not you just talking at them. Those are the things that people will stay for. They will stay if they're being paid $5,000 less, but you treat them well. Then they already know what they're getting here, and they have a trusted relationship, and they feel like they're seen, valued, and supported, and they feel like they're adding value, and they know how they can contribute to your bottom line. That is what keeps people in place, regardless to how much money they're making. And if they're not making enough money, they'll come to you. And if you work something out with them through performance evaluations, people, that's a thing, and really put together a plan to get them to that next level, they're going to stay with you versus going down the street where they don't know where they're coming. They don't know what they're getting into.
Okay. Listen, you've given me some good parts. I hope these people that I have gotten these letters from, I'm telling y'all, y'all. I hope y'all tuning in because she gave y'all, I mean, truly step by step how to do this. I would love for those who are with us while I'm getting to head over to this second break. I would love for the audience. I need y'all to go in and drop a comment in the chat. I need you to drop down if you were hiring someone in this current job market, what would you be looking for? Would you be looking for that person who's coming with a bunch of ideas? Would you be looking for the person who's ready and willing to work immediately? What would you be looking for? Go ahead and drop that down in the comments. I'm interested and very curious to see what you would do if you were on the other side of the hiring table. Okay, guys, hold on. I gotta come back in because my sponsor. So listen, the 3S movement has had an opportunity to come in and do some wonderful ideas and things in the community. They do community outreach. They give an opportunity to give away for teachers and give away groceries and gas. But here's what I need you to do. I need you to help me be the voice in the community, to help someone who is saying, Patrice, I want to go in and talk with someone, but I haven't found that counselor that fits for me just yet. Go ahead and send them over. Help them out. Get them over to the 3smovement.com so they can find out about the wonderful staff. And then, hey, I need you to go ahead and even give them the phone number. That's 866 4, hold on, y'all, because I want to get it right. 866 479 9432. I need you to help me get out here and get this mission moving. That mental health is not a mystery, it is just a trauma waiting to be solved. So make sure again that you tell a friend about the 3smovement.com so that you can start your healing journey here. Okay, y'all, listen. When I tell you Miss Necole is giving us some good stuff, she has broken down how you hire. She has broken down how do you deal with sensitive employee issues. But now we get into the fun one. We're going to be talking about business policies. So we have so many people who come in and they're ready, but I have yet to hear people talk about creating their book of policy or their onboarding system. What would you suggest to a new business owner? What would be their proper steps in their onboarding as well as their policies?
That's a really good question. And I'm just going to walk you through the steps. And I want you to think about something as we talk about onboarding. Think about, or even if it's a new hire orientation, think about your job and you're on the first day and you're excited. You accepted the position and you're excited about this role. And you walk into the doors and they say, "Hi, Sarah Smith. Welcome to the team." And they walk you over to your desk or walk you over to your workstation. Well, here's where you're going to be working. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great day. Bye. Think
Oh,
about
wow,
it.
that's it?
Yeah, think about that. The anxiety that you feel as a
Oh,
new
wow.
hire. You were excited about working for this company, and then you get there and huge letdown. That's where your onboarding comes in. So you start interacting with people at the time of hire when they first submit their interview or their resume and you interview them. They're excited about working in your organization. When they come on that first day, you should make them feel excited. You should have give them an experience, an aha moment, like, wow, I am glad that I started working here. And what does that look like? Your new hire orientation or your onboarding process should go through all of the policies that you have, your handbook, all your company policies.
Mhm.
You should be talking about who you are as a business and why you are excited to be a part of that business, whether you're the owner or the leader, and
Okay.
what we do here and how we are making moves in the market. So you want that person to feel like, wow, I made a really good choice. I'm excited to be here because I already feel valued. They rolled out the first dates for me. You don't have to do a whole big lunch or anything like that. But what you want to do is you want to start creating that trust, that line of trust. You want to start creating that opportunity to keep the doors open for communication and like I said, trust, right? So understand what that looks like. If you felt funny about starting a job and someone just walked you to your desk and said, "Okay, thanks for joining us. See you later. Bye." If you had that experience, wouldn't you want to have a different experience for your business and your culture and why someone should work for you? Because fun fact, new employees don't stop looking for a new job until they've been with you for a year.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
So even though the employee is in your face and they're
Hired.
coming to work every day hired, they
Mhm.
still are looking online for another job?
Yeah, think about yourself. Think about
Oh, wow.
yourself. Yeah. So if you just think when you started working for a job and you that was your experience, and you're like, well, I kind of like this job, but not really. Let me see what's out there. Let me still look and see what's out there. So that's why it people turn over within sometimes the first 90 days, right? But within the first year, they turn over because there isn't a connection with the company that they work with or the people at the company that they work for with because people don't leave companies, they leave people. So if you're not
Mm.
building that trust and you're not building a system of loyalty with that employee immediately, they are still looking to earn more money, looking for a better culture. looking for better leadership in an organization. And that's another thing. If you're talking about retention, let's think about, why are people turning over in your business? Is there something going on in your culture, or is there something going on within your leadership? So it's not always the people that are leaving, it's sometimes the people that are there.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit deeper with that because as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking about some other old positions that I've had, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so right.
Mhm.
Um, what happens when there is a lack of clarity in your HR policies as a small business?
If there's a lack of clarity there, then you're in a state of confusion and chaos. Because if your employees don't know what they're supposed to be doing, that means you as a business owner, you as a leader, you're doing a lot of the work that a person is supposed to be doing. Because of lack of clarity, everyone is falling all over itself. So either you're doing it, or you have two or three people doing the same job, right? And then you start creating this anxiety and contentiousness amongst your team members. So then you start to get into you started getting to sabotage, where people are like, well, I'm doing this job, and all of a sudden she's get hired, and now she's taking on my responsibilities. So now there's a threat that this person is going to take over my job, and then I'm going to lose my job. And then it's like, well, I'm not training them to do what I do, because then if they're doing it, then what are they going to need me for? So if there's clarity,
Mm,
clear written job descriptions that is identified for each role, everyone knows with clarity what they're supposed to be responsible for. And if there's people training and helping develop other people and new hires, then they understand this is part of my role, and I'm not training someone to replace me. I'm training people to add to me. So that makes a huge difference as well.
I like that. I love how you just gave that piece. I'm not training them to move me out. I'm training them to help be moved up.
Exactly.
That's I love. I actually love how you put that. So here's one of my favorite ones. Was there any particular HR system or strategy that you would recommend to a small business in the area of business growth?
Yeah. So business growth, always know where you're going, right? If you
Mm,
don't know where you're going, you're just on the road, and you'll take detours trying to get to a place, and you have no destination. So making sure that you at least have your onboarding system in place, you have your employee handbook in place, and then you have your policies and systems, right? Your systems are how you pay people, and helping them understand how you pay them, and then understanding if you offering time off. I know in the state of Illinois, we have mandatory time off for employees, 40 hours, right? And then a lot of people say, well, okay, they can take time off, but an employee could be confused on, how do I take time off? How do I request time off? When do I
mm,
request time off? So that's all about your policies, to really set clarity around everything in every operation in your business, so that there's no mishaps, and there's no way that someone can say, well, I've been discriminated against because you offered this to that person, or you allowed that person to get that, and I wasn't allowed. Or
mm.
favoritism, because it could be a family member or something like that, someone like that working in a business. But if there's clarity as to how you need to apply for these things, or how you get these things, or what's afforded to you, then no one can misrepresent an idea into something that is really not. So, and discrimination cases happen based off of perception. It's not always reality, but sometimes
Mm.
perception can get you in your pocketbook. It taps into those profits, and none of us want to give up our profits unnecessarily.
No, we do not. I would love to know at any point, have you ever helped a small business or any business um, in regard to a legal issue in the area of HR?
Yes. So one of my clients actually called me and said that they had received an audit from the Department of Labor, and they were in a panic because they're a small business. They have about 150 employees at this point, and they're not sure what to do or how to do it. And getting that call from the Department of Labor is pretty intense, right?
Hmm.
Is anxiety driven, for sure, for
Yes.
obvious reasons. So I said, okay, no worries. I will handle. the audit. So I will actually streamline the audit, meaning I worked with the auditor and was the liaison between the auditor and the business. So I did all the communication between both. I asked the business, this is what the auditor is requesting, and then I communicated that to the auditor. And when the auditor tried to push back and say, well, we're going to fine them for these things, I said, well, these, okay, we understand that these things aren't in place today, but we're already in action and getting towards that. So I was able to help the business owner save some money by knowing the language of the auditor. As being in HR for 25 years, I've dealt with several audits, right? So, and then say, well, we're already in process of getting these things in place today prior to your audit. So that we were able to remove some of the fines and penalties from that audit. And so it was actually cost saving, probably saved them about 25 to $30,000.
So it sounds like you are a complete one stop shop because I mean, to me, I know how I am. An audit is like somebody saying you have a pop quiz, and I'm going, what? So this sounds like to me that you're going in, you know, the lingo, you know how to come in and say, this is what we need to have done. And you're literally walking with your client side by side. Because what I'm hearing is, I'm not leaving you, I'm not dropping you, I'm here with you till this gets done. Where
Yeah.
I've heard other services, people will say, oh, yeah, they were with me, but then this happened, and then I didn't see anybody. So
Hmm.
it sounds like you're definitely an amazing one stop shop for any business.
Yeah, and one of the things I tell my clients is I'm with you every step of your business journey. So it's no matter what you need, we have the answer for it. We have the service that can help you.
Go ahead and let the people know how they can reach out to you. I'm doing this a little early today, but I'm gonna do it twice this time. You just that good. Go ahead and tell them how they can connect with you.
Sure. So my name is Necole Matlock, and it's spelled Necole. Last name Matlock, Matlock. And you can reach me at strategichrdevelopment.com, which is my website, www.strategichrdevelopment.com. And my email is info at strategichrdevelopment.com. And if you just want a phone call, I could be reached at 630-280-1800. I'm also on socials. I'm on LinkedIn under Necole Matlock, and I have a Facebook page under Necole Matlock and Strategic HR Development. You can also find me on Instagram under Strategic HR Development.
Listen, guys, I need y'all to head over and connect with her. When I tell you she has been giving us some amazing stuff, and we're not even done yet, okay? We're not even done. She has given us so much good stuff in the area of HRs for the small business owner and what they can do to keep them out of trouble and keep money in their pocket. I don't know
Mhm.
about you, but that's the part right there that makes my heart sing. You gonna keep me out of trouble and keep my money right? Let's talk. So listen, I gotta go in and I have to, y'all. I gotta thank my sponsor one more time, the 3S movement, because in this process, they are bringing you some amazing people and guests to this format. They're literally giving you people that's not only going to help you in your personal life, but in your professional life. And we're trying to make sure we bring people in that are truly purpose driven just to you. So if you know you're saying, Patrice, listen, I need someone to talk to. Some things in life have gotten a little bit hectic. I'm going to tell you, head on over to the 3S movement, make your appointment, talk with those ladies over there. I'm telling you, it is worth the conversation. That's right. Don't forget to head over to the 3S movement and book your call and your time with them. Okay, listen, we're on the last part of this interview, but I'm telling you, it was so good. Listen, don't rush. Now, go back because this is the one that a lot of people are having. So, this is a twofold question. The first one, how do you handle mental health in the small business in a positive way? And what's a way that I can avoid negative stigma for mental health in my business? So let's start with how we deal with mental health positively in the business first.
Yeah, and again, there's no secret sauce. It really is about conversation, having the conversations, and really asking your people how are they doing. Not how are they doing in the job, but how are they as a person, as a human being. and really getting into that. And once you build that level of trust with your employees, they will tell you. And even allowing mental health days, that's so
Mm,
important. Everyone is overwhelmed, right? With everything is everyone hurry up and wait, move fast,
mhm,
and do more with less.
mhm.
So just
Yep.
think about if you as a business owner, you're overwhelmed with all of the things that you have going every day because your business is your job today, right? And then you have your family and you have other commitments. That's a thing, right? Think about your employees are dealing in that same space. Not to say that you give time for it to be abused. If it's abused, then we need to take
Mm,
a handle on that. But allowing it, and then thinking about where a person is, like thinking about a Gen Xer, Generation X.
mhm.
They are sandwiched between their family and their aging parents. So that could
Yes.
be a lot that a person can be, juggling all at one time. So allowing someone to talk about what they're dealing with at home and building that level of trust that you care about them as an individual really makes the difference between them having a breakdown and not wanting to show up for work versus I am okay because I know I have a safe space when I get to work.
That's good. What are some of the things that you've seen negatively in the area of mental health?
You just basically, as it is in society, it's ignored, right? You
Wow.
think that, oh, well, that person must be crazy, or that person is full of drama, or they always have something going on. Instead of taking the negative standpoint and taking on the feel of what society tells us about mental health, really just understanding and being compassionate. Showing
Mm,
compassion at work as a leader, compassion can be your greatest attribute, right? Because you are showing people that you care about who they are as a person. You care about how they are as a person. How are they feeling today? And a lot of people in society today, it's all about we don't want to talk about people's feelings. And the main people that are saying that we don't want to talk about people's feelings, they have feelings that they want you to talk about. They want you to consider.
mhm.
They want you to take a pause for. So when someone's having a bad day and you know that they're having a bad day, give them some encouragement. Provide a safe space for them to just open up and vent, and do it behind a closed door, and don't allow other people to talk about someone else's mental health or talk about someone having a bad day. Shut that down immediately, because again, when other people are talking about one person that's having a hard day, now that could be your strongest performer, and now you have an opportunity that you're going to lose them because you didn't correct the behaviors of their peers. So make sure we stand on that.
I thank you so much for saying that because I think so many people have gotten to the thing. This is now becoming the topic we don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
And it's so needed because everybody has some type of thing going on with them.
yeah,
I'm gonna
agreed.
let you wrap this last part up because this was an emotional one when I got this particular letter. This person had to let go of their first employee. This is the person who
Mhm.
started with them, and they just want to know how did they do it right is what they really want to know. Did I do it right? Is this going to cause a damage to this relationship? What would you suggest?
Again, it's all about and how you do it, right? Always treat people with, compassion, even when you have to let someone go, and think about why, the reason. So I want to preface this by saying you don't fire people, people fire themselves, right?
Mm,
It's based on the way they handled the situation. But outside of that, look at where you started in your business when you hired this person. And now where are you in your business today? Did your expectations change? Was that communicated? Did your business grow in a different area where you needed this person to be stronger in certain areas and they just didn't have the skill set? That's something to consider as well. Or did this person just take advantage of the situation of being their first hire, and you allowed them to get too close and you became more of a friendship versus an actual employee boss situation? Now that's a very thin line. You always want to have a relationship with your people, but not in the way that cross barriers. So be sure you are, even when you become friendly with somebody, create the boundaries and make sure those boundaries aren't being crossed. You don't cross them with your employees, and your employees don't cross them with you. So those are some of the things that you can consider. But it goes back to ensuring, when you first start your business or start to think about, I need to hire someone, think about what are the tasks, what are the skills that are needed for this role, and then look at hire from that standpoint, not because this person is my friend or my family member, or this person just needs a job and I want to give them a chance. But can you, when in giving them a chance, can they handle the responsibilities of the role? Always keep that in the forefront of your mind, even though it could be a great person. But if they can't handle those responsibilities, eventually you're going to reach termination. Either they're going to leave you or you're going to let them go.
I'm going to let you wrap up and give kind of what I call the final word. But before you give this final word, I want you to tell people again how they can connect with you. And then I want you to give them the final word, what every person needs to know about HR in the small business.
Yeah. So again, I can be reached at www.strategichrdevelopment.com, which is my website. I can be reached on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. So, as far as the final word and what everyone needs to know about HR, one of the key pieces, as I even been in HR for 25 years, big or small, most people look at HR is, so it's one of three areas: payroll, hiring, or benefits. And I always tell my clients, if you're looking at it from that perspective, you have a huge gap in your business, because HR is so much broader than that. HR can help you build your business from a people process, and tying your goals to your people in production, and also is protecting you from the Department of Labor, as well as setting you up to sell your business, to make sure that you have your leadership developed in your business, and making sure that the culture is set so that you can retain and attract top talent. So those are just some of the areas that HR can help with. We're more than just payroll and hiring. In HR, it's a journey, not a destination.
Well, I want to thank you because this was a great eye-opening interview, not just for the people, for me as well, and learning more about HR. And this made me even more curious. So I definitely want to have you back. I want to talk to you when we get to do our small business panel and put you in as one of our references and our resources for the people who need to know. These are people you need to have in your corner once you start your business. And
Absolutely.
even when you have that first thought about starting that business, I want to help equip you with the people, your team outside of your office team, that's going to help you be successful. So I once again want to thank you for coming and just being a part of this with me today, because this definitely worth the wait and the time. I'm so appreciative of you, and I thank you for honoring me with your time, for
Thank you.
being here with me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, y'all. That was an amazing interview. Listen, if you didn't get all this information, I need y'all to go back and rewatch that replay, because honey, she gave us some gems all the way through. And I need you to do me a favor. I need you to what? Subscribe, share, like, tell people about us, honey, so that they can get their information too. Y'all know on this channel we are all about helping each other, because that's the name of the game. And on this show, we push purpose, positivity, and personal growth. And I can't wait until the next thrilling episode. Make sure you stay tuned for a new episode dropping near you.